Okay, it looks like I'm live. I just want to make a quick update about what's going on in my video vlog feed. I'm just stopping the uploads because I have an extensive amount of videos of the courthouse in Steamboat Springs, and I really don't want to expose them at this time. I want to wait until after I have my court case dismissed. So that's what I'm waiting on. I took a lot of video, and it'll look like I currently put up video, and I didn't. It was well before the judge magistrate ordered all video forbidden from the courthouse. So I'm just gonna hold off until after the dismissal, and then things should be fine. I don't know how it would even affect the status of my court case, really, because it's a different subject. But I'm just gonna hold off anyway. I'm not in any rush to put out videos. I'm currently in Vail, but I won't be here for very long. I'm going live from the library, but I won't be here very long. And I would compare it to Steamboat very favorably. I'd say they're very similar, from what I've seen so far, at least. Comparing Vail to Steamboat, it's pretty nice. There's no hot springs in Vail, as far as I understand, though. So that's the difference. That's a difference. But there's a lot more pine trees to walk by and see. And yeah, I I don't know how people choose one or the other when they want a ski area. Maybe there's a lot of people who prefer variety anyway. I'm not sure. I'll do a little scan around here. We got the library. I'm surprised I even have a connection outside. The library opens a little bit later, so that's why I'm kind of sitting out here. I already ran the drone over the city a little bit. That was fun. Oh man. Hey, Jeremiah. Yeah, I'm just making a short vlog here. Just made a little trip around the city a little bit. Actually, it's just a big strip. It follows the river pretty much. So it's a well built area. I appreciate how they put it together, and they put a big emphasis on preservation of the nature. So it's pretty exciting stuff. Um, let's see. That was the update. That's pretty much what I wanted to say. I just said it right away. So I guess I'm probably good there. Nothing else to add. And just going south. I don't want to go to Denver anymore. Let's see. I just want to go straight south. I'm gonna cross over at least one city. I haven't decided which one yet. Either Pueblo or Santa Fe. And not for long. I'll just cross over those cities, back through them very quickly. I don't want to spend much time in either one. Pueblo or Santa Fe, they're both pretty rough. All right, I know spots to park overnight in both of them that I can get away with, but they're pretty rough anyway. There's a lot of homeless bums around there. I haven't seen any homeless bums in Vail, barely any in Steamboat. At least the ones I do see in Steamboat really keep a low profile, and they keep moving along. But they'll sit and relax and make a camp, and then start becoming territorial in places like Santa Fe or Pueblo. All right, you got to be careful of them. It's something. Maybe it's the difference between a resort city and just a regular city that's functioning on basic provisions. I don't know the exact thing. I will say, it looks like it's trying to rain around here. There's little water droplets. It seems like the resort cities, they support a unique culture. I was just in Avon, and there's a lot of Spanish speaking, but I also heard some like either Portuguese or Russian. I don't know. There's quite a variety over there. But Avon, I think Avon's kind of a ski village, but they seem to support Vail. because there's a lot of Mexican speaking Mexican. And what's amazing about it is you compare this Mexican city of Avon to Woodland, Oregon, or a lot of those other Mexican central cities that speak primarily Spanish, that have no problem advertising for certain businesses entirely in Mexican. All right, don't even bother making an English advertisement. Just have it in Mexican because it's such a comfortable community for that culture. Um, they support no compare it to Bellevue, Idaho, not Woodland, Oregon. Compare it to Bellevue, Idaho, because Bellevue seems is a high Mexican area as well. A lot of Mexican speakers there, and they support the ski village of Ketchum, Idaho, just north of there, about 25-30 miles. And it's interesting. I'm finding a pattern of a lack of graffiti. It's really interesting. There's no graffiti in Avon, and there was no graffiti in Bellevue, Idaho. So it's like, could there be a pattern there with the ski villages when they have the outside Mexican cities like Avon or Bellevue? The Mexicans are in a different mindset. Is that how it works? You got them more responsible. You got them being more responsible around the ski resort areas or something. I'm not sure, but it's an interesting way that how it all plays out with crime. Because like Woodland, Oregon was rough. That's a high Mexican population. It's like it depends on the type of people that are there. But why? What determines their attitudes? What affects their attitudes? A ski village? Do you need a ski village to settle people down? You need a lot of money. There's a lot of money in ski villages, and they build up with high quality materials and spend extra time building designer work that's very unique from other cities, and that takes time and money. How much money have you got? I don't know, but it's an interesting contrast. Ski villages, do all ski villages tend to have a city outside of the ski village that's the workforce, that like Avon, but Avon also has some ski areas, not as much as Vail. I don't know. It's an interesting study. I mean, there's all kinds of examples of minority cultures outside of more popular business district or financial district or whatever, that support these minority communities, support the big business district. Oh, or invest. Yeah, they do invest in keeping it clean. I gotta say that Vail is tough on parking overnight. I was able to find a spot, but it took a little effort. I had to put a little extra effort in. There's signs that say no parking from 12 midnight to 7 a.m. So I had to work around that. At first I thought, why not the auto shop? Where are the nearest auto shops? Because I looked at the apartment complexes. You can't park anywhere on the side of the street, especially at night. And around the apartment complexes, it's 24/7, no parking on the side of the road. So I couldn't consider any apartment complexes, and I took two 40-minute bus rides around this city because the bus is free, as well as a newspaper, which is very similar to Steamboat too. You got free bus and free newspaper, so that was pretty neat. I took my bicycle here, so I wanted to check out the trail and fly the drone a little bit. But parking overnight was pretty different. The enforcement could be tough. I don't know. I don't really see a lot of cops patrolling a lot. I have seen some, but they can have the signs. But the next phase is the actual enforcement of it all. And I'm not going to say where I parked, but I found a pretty good spot. I think I'm going to be comfortable for a couple of nights. I'll do it, and then take off. And I want to head like a southern area, whatever. You can look on the map, whatever's south of Vail. I wanna check it out. A park and ride? No way. I would not. I've done it. The last time I did that was in Phoenix with the park and ride, and that was tough. I got 3 nights out of it until this black lady security guard who was there every day for the 3 days. She saw me, but she didn't. She waited until like the third or fourth day to approach me about being parked there overnight. She only showed up in the morning times, and she saw me like laying down on that fourth day, and then that's when she called me out and said, "Hey, you can't be parking overnight." So that's when I stopped. That was in the south part of the Phoenix area. Um, I can't do parking rides. They just I've driven by parking rides where I've seen cops flashing their lights inside cars. Those are not really options. Those are like trying to park at a mall in a mall parking lot overnight. It's just that risky. Very rarely would I see a kind of a park and ride that you could get away with overnight. It's extremely rare. They know that those would be hot spot. The cops, the authorities know those would be hot spots for people camping out. So I don't even consider it. That would be like last of the last. My first choice is always Walmart, and then after that the side streets next to an apartment complex or in between a complex and business, or any side streets that would have cars around it nearby. um, Overnight parking tougher in cities that sell cannabis? No, I don't think so, actually. Are they? I don't believe so. They seem more loose. The regulations seem looser in the cannabis cities. um, it's, that's a deregulation. That's a sign that the city has reduced their enforcement, reduced um, their security. Um, I don't know what other people have seen for patterns of that, but that's interesting. That's an interesting thought. Yeah, it's like, how do you find patterns? I'm really not a good person at figuring out these patterns because I make mistakes. I make mistakes quite a bit. I think I got something figured out. I think, oh, this might be a good spot. And then I get robbed in Albuquerque. I'm like, I'm in an isolated road on the side street thinking that, oh, there's nothing around. It's cold out. And it's like, I get burglarized. It's just the signs were, I seen some meth heads. Some guy moaning at 5 a.m. next to the Burger King with his pants down to his knees. He was moaning, and it was like he had his pants down to his knees, and it was like 30, 40, 35 degrees. Robert Redford, okay. Yeah. Oh, is he in Colorado? Oh, okay, thanks. I gotta check out Gerald Ford used to vacation in Vail, in this city, in this town, and I wanna check that out. It's on my GPS. It's a historical site, and there's also like a Betty Ford clinic or Betty Ford garden. I don't know where her Betty Ford clinic is, but she's got a garden, and that's on the east side. Yeah, yeah. Famous people probably have been in and out of this area. Steamboat Vale, Aspen. I am not going to Aspen. That's too popular anyway. But in Avon, I got within 35 miles of it, but that's straight shot calculation. Actually taking a road is maybe twice that, because the calculation I was given was like going over a mountain. I believe that's kind of how the GPS works, is it gives you that straight shot, how far it is exactly, and then you put in you say, okay, now I want to go there, and then it gets the inputs. But in the high Rockies, you got to drive around all the mountains, so there's extra miles to add on top of going up and down and all that. So as you can hear, there's a lot of construction going on, and they have done a lot of wonderful work. Yeah, Aspen would be interesting, but I think it's too popularized by Dumb and Dumber. Yeah, it's very interesting, but there's a lot of ski villages around to check out anyway. Aspen and Steamboat Springs, Avon a little bit. Vail is a little more central because the newspaper is called Vail Daily, so that's the focus right there. That's what got my attention when I was in Avon. I was reading this free newspaper called Vail Daily, so I'm like, okay, I want to go to the source of this, because that's obviously going to be what they're trying to attract the attention to is Vail. So there, yeah. Well, maybe there's a chance that you could get away with parking overnight. I bet when the Dumb and Dumber Harry and Lloyd went to Aspen, they probably found some, say hypothetically, they probably found a few spots to spend overnight before they discovered they had the millions in cash in their briefcase. Um, and there probably could be good spots, that you have to look around. I have to look around pretty hard in Vail, and Aspen would probably be a little bit extra of a challenge. And I'm like, this is Colorado. I mean, how can this be so much like, this is Colorado? How can this be so much like the California coast? It's like they got so much regulation in this area that's so similar to being on the California coast, yet they lack the bums. They don't have the bums that you see in California. You got all the regulation in California, all for parking overnight, and you got the bums still around the area that are finding ways of working around it. But here, you got all the regulation, but none of the bums. So I don't know how the enforcement is, but I think they let their guard down. They may put the signs up, the warnings up, but I don't think they're getting as big of a problem, so they don't have to. They're probably less they probably take less initiative and enforcement and rely on calls, similar to what happened when I got the cops called on me in Steamboat, because I knew I was pretty close to leaving Steamboat, so I let my guard down and just kind of stayed. I stayed a little extra longer in that parking lot, and I gave the hospital worker the opportunity to check me out and then call the cops, and I stayed long enough for the cops to arrive. I let my guard down, but I was taking off. I was not parking in that parking lot after 6 a.m. I made sure to leave after 6 a.m. in and out, of course. But I made sure to leave before they arrived, and now it's when I get lazy, that's the problem. When I'm about ready to leave, and I was there for 2 months, I was ready to leave, I get a little lazy because I'm like, okay, even if the cops show up, I'm planning on leaving anyway, so it's no big deal. They push me out, I leave out on my own terms, whatever. But when I want to stay, I get extra cautious. If I want to stay a few days, I get extra cautious. Keep the windows rolled down a little bit lower. Try not to sleep as much. Just find the perfect spots, like the most ideal spot first, and then wear that out, and then work down from there. Just get lazy. Just park where there's a sign that says no overnight parking. Because if I don't care, I guess that means I'm getting towards the end of getting towards the end where I don't want to stay any longer. I'm ready to leave. Yeah, I don't know how's the court case going. I'll find out. I'm just kind of I'm told, well, I believe I don't have to return, but we'll see. If I have to return, then I'll just turn myself into the local authorities, whatever city I'm at. I really don't want to return to Steamboat. It's already getting too chilly. I'm noticing a temperature difference of at least, I think 5 to 10 degrees between Vail and Steamboat. It's actually slightly warmer in Vail, so my toes haven't been getting as cold. So yeah, I'm running from the law. So that's it. The court case should be done by this week. The judge was on vacation all last week, so it could have been maybe done by last week, but since he went on vacation, now we're spilling it over to this week. And favorite place to stay? Are you a traveler looking for ideas? There's a lot of interesting places. I got a few places that I definitely like to return to, like reading a good book, like to reread a good book, return to a good place. Yeah, I'm trying to make some socks out of cotton. No, I'm definitely not going to Arizona. But my favorite place in Arizona would Not Sedona. Those guys are tough on overnight parking. Oh, you were in yeah, yeah. Yeah. There's a lot of great spots in Colorado. I've been enjoying Steamboat was nice, but I wore out my welcome. For a couple of weeks that'd be nice, but for 2 months that's a little overkill hanging out. Um, Gosh, there's like it's hard to choose favorite places. It's like the resort areas are nice, but the parking is tough, and the places that have nice liberal parking policies tend to be pretty rough areas that are boring, maybe farm towns. You got to look a little bit harder to find something to pick up your spirits when you're in that low regulation for overnight parking town. Like, oh man, there's plenty of there's plenty of depressing towns in Idaho, in the plains, in the mountains. It's a lot nicer in the mountains of Idaho. It's a lot nicer in the mountains of Colorado. Just in the mountains in general, a lot of the mountain towns are pretty nice. Then you're dealing with a lot of extremists, a lot of the extremist personalities that just don't want any outside interference in some way. Yeah, ferments help. I just eaten some. There's a store that has the peanut butter maker. No, the Tetons. Man, where is that, in like Arizona or something? That sounds familiar. I made have seen structures like Tetons, the rock structures like Tetons. Yeah, the Tetons of Wyoming. There's the Devil's Rock. Have you ever seen the Devil's Rock or the Devil's Claw or something like that? I missed that one. That one's a popular spot to hang out. I drove by this structure called the Finger Rock between Steamboat and Avon. This is called you could probably search it, Finger Rock in California, or in Colorado, Finger Rock. And I was so much like, I wanted to fly my drone around it because it's this tall. Yeah, you saw the Devil's Tower? Yeah, I wish, if I wasn't so conservative and making such a small amount of money, I would consider them crazy drives, but I got to consider the wear and tear on my car and stuff. But I drove by that Finger Rock, and I wanted to fly my drone in a circle around it and just get it like that. But it's like there were no good parking spots, and I was a little. It's been a while since I've flown the drone. I just flew it today, and it's a cool landscape looking over Vail. I flew over the city, and it was pretty neat to see that. Such a great perspective to have. And I was thinking about maybe taking off right in this spot. Could I take off with my drone right here? There's people walking around. I was thinking maybe I could fly it like before the library opens or something. Maybe stay another day and just try to take off when the library, in between the library hours or something. Because this is a pretty good spot. You can see I'd have to get around some trees, but I've done that before. That ain't too hard to do. You just got to be a little more cautious. Where are some good spots to fly the drone, and what other good spots are there you can have a campfire? I've been thinking of I'd like to play with the I've been wanting to play with the box, the fire box. It's a little foldable camp. This little foldable wood burner. Yeah, I could carry that in my backpack. It's probably like 2 pounds though. Carry that and then start little fires. But I don't know. Yeah, state parks tend to cost money. I'm not willing to pay, and I only have a Ford Focus, so I don't have refrigeration, and I can't carry much anyway. I've got a different kind of limitations from RV campers. Okay, if you want a different, very different lifestyle, you watch the RV campers, because those guys can. If you can afford an RV, you can afford a campsite. You got refrigeration, and yeah, I'd like something like maybe the firebox stove. My biggest concern is They say it warps. It warps out, and I don't know how quickly it warps, but that's a concern if that's the case. If it's gonna bend from all the heat pretty quickly, then I don't know if I want to bother paying $50 for one of those fireboxes. I don't know if I want to bother with that kind of expense, especially with the little use I would give it, really, because there's not a lot of good spots for cooking. There's not a lot of good spots for like exercise or to lay down on my back. If I lay down even out here right now, I would have the cop. I'm sure they'd call the cops on me or tell me to sit up. You can't do that so much. You know, if I who there's quite a few people who've got the RV channels. I've been watching quite a bit of, well, not quite a bit, but I've been watching Nomadic Fanatic every so often. But he seems to go to a lot of theme parks. He doesn't have the lifestyle the lifestyle I have, where you struggle to find a good place to park overnight and talk about that. He's going to theme parks. He's paying to get in. Yeah, he does have a channel, the Firebox Stove Guy, and I'm surprised he could put up so much content. It seems kind of repetitive to me, but he's still going. He keeps it going. That's pretty neat. Showing all the different situations you could get into with cooking outside. I don't think he does it in town anywhere. He's probably driving deep out into the forest to do his cooking. I'm looking for like the in between. I don't want to quite go too deep in the forest and get too far away from the city. I need the city. I eat a lot. I'd have to live off the land if I go deep in the forest because of my lack of room in my car. I can only hold 800 pounds in a Ford Focus, and I'm a quarter of that weight already. Even though I took out quite a few seats, I got quite a few things in there. I would need to take a lot of food and a water too. Water would be one of the biggest, heaviest supplies that I'd take, and I wouldn't last very long out deep in the forest trying to boondock out in the forest in a Ford Focus. That's unheard of. Who does that? Who boondocks in a who car camp boondocks? Yeah, people say that I should show what like things to eat, things that I've been eating. I've been trying to like consider things. I mean, I make bad mistakes in foods I choose, and I don't want to encourage that. I kind of believe that I may have killed a 91-year-old man with my suggestions on what to eat. I suggested to him to get the powdered what do they call it? Hummus. There's powdered hummus. I got excited about it at one time. And I was like, hey, this stuff is good. You can spread it on bread. And I hope he didn't eat too much after that. After I left Rice Lake, Wisconsin, I hope he turned away from that hummus, because that stuff was starting to be hard on my stomach, and just something is doing something weird. Hummus even prepared, besides being dehydrated, where you add water to it, none of that is good. And I was kind of turning to it. I was like, this would probably be good. At one time I was thinking hummus, dried split pea soup, those types of foods would be good for travel food, but they're not. It's just dog food. They're hard. Yeah, I know. I'm not trying to offer older people. I might. Well, my stomach has not been sick lately. I just don't understand it. It could be an ulcer, but I think what causes ulcers, the popular scientific theory of ulcers is H. pylori, and I think maybe there's an H. pylori issue. I think I have an infection in several parts all over my body. Probably got some STDs from all the toilets I've sat on, and it's just all coming together and causing health issues. But I haven't been sick lately, but it's scary. I just don't know what to expect. I've been on and off stomach sick for the past 6 months, and I don't know how to control it. It's just something that seems to be just a part of my life now. So yeah, when's my doctor appointment? I don't know what, I'm getting off on tangents here, talking about killing elderly and my health problems. I don't want to make bad suggestions to people. Like my ferments, I think the ferments are good, but maybe that's a cancer causing problem that I just don't. Yeah, I think I probably have some from the toilets. I've sat in a lot of dirty toilets. I can only wipe them down so much, and there's some that there's low light levels and some of the rooms you can't really see what all's going on. Yeah, well, okay, people are scared of actual visible like spiders under the toilet seat. That doesn't scare me because there's flies flying up from those toilets that have no plumbing. It's just a big pit, and they tell you don't throw your trash in there because it's hard to pull that trash out. Well, a lot of flies are in there, and I mean I'll sit on those. I mean those are pretty dirty. Those are some of the dirtiest toilets around. You're taking a chance, but what are you gonna do? But I don't want to give too much advice about eating because it's like I make bad mistakes. I had those two double quarter pounders with cheese a couple days ago, and I felt like I was gonna have a heart attack. That was such a mistake. I got so confident with my ferments. I had a lot. Yeah, I could crochet a toilet seat cover. All right. Yeah, some of them have. I'm gonna do this. Quick. Can I? There's a little squirrel. All right, we can zoom in on this little guy. He'll be the entertainment. Is that as close as I can get? So, I don't want to give too much advice about eating because I make some bad choices. Like this squirrel, let them make their own choices. They'll learn by their own choices. I had yes, yeah, I had those two double whoppers with cheese, and those really were not a good idea. I thought I took it was a kind of an experiment. I thought I could get away with doing that, and the wow factor. I thought I could get away with two double whoppers of cheese with my ferments. I was like, okay, I'm gonna eat these, but I'm gonna also consume a lot of my ferments, and it just didn't work out. The ferments can't work through bad food. It helps digest it. It takes that gunky cheese, the gunky fat from the burger. It takes it out of your mouth. Consuming the ferments will clean your mouth of that gunky feeling, but then you got the digestion process after that, and there's some chemicals. There's some nasty stuff in there that is not good for the heart. So I got to stop that. I've been looking into alternatives. I've been trying cheese by itself, but I can't seem to eat cheese by itself so much because that seems to cause some heart struggles, and it's very frustrating. I have to keep limiting and further limiting what I eat, and it's very frustrating. I abused cheese early on in my life, and then now I'm scared of it. It seems like I can have it in small quantities and have no problems. I can consume milk and have no problems. Yeah, it's just getting old that the foods are catching up on me. Cheeses have caught up on me. The peanut butter, the factory processed peanut butter has caught up with me. I can still consume peanuts and also the machine processed peanut butter in the stores. Yep, I don't know if there's any pine seeds. I never find pine seeds in pine cones, but they're supposed to be there. I got such a bad lighting. I guess I can move. Yeah, maybe. And I thought I zoomed in as that's the furthest away. That's the closest. It's got this fast zoom. The zoom is a little crazier when you go live. All right. So it's hard for me to give food advice. I'm trying to get cheese back in my diet because I've been getting the McDonald's sausage McMuffins and then I buy the eggs in the bag at the grocery store and mixing those together, and then the potatoes in the can. But now after that incident with the double quarter pounders with cheese, I can't. I'm scared. I don't want to consume any more McDonald's for a while. So then I turned to cheese. Salad. See, the thing is, I'm trying to eat things that I desire too, and salads are like, I'm taking a different approach to salads. I've been throwing leaves. I've been throwing regular salad leaves into my ferment, and if it doesn't taste like it's a strong enough ferment, if it doesn't taste like a strong enough ferment with the lettuce leaves and the various, like the baby spinach leaves and all the various arugula leaves and all that, I'll throw some honey in there, and that'll strengthen the ferment up. Oh, he's going. He's leaving. I wonder if will it stay zoomed? Uh, okay. Shrink it down. Okay. But yeah, the ferments, I can't. I'm throwing leaves into my ferments, and then that's my salad. Okay, I don't. I think that might help with digestion, but then it's hard to eat the leaves after they've been like a part of the ferment for a few days. They're very strong, but I think they're very digestible. But they're very strong. But they have to support kind of a rich diet, a kind of a fatty diet. And I turned. No, I don't get, my ferments don't cause any buzz or anything. No, they're so tainted that it's just only it goes straight to vinegar. I can't make alcohol anymore. It goes straight to vinegar. I think I need to like restart. I need to clean a jar out and then restart fresh, and then maybe it'll turn to alcohol again. But it's going straight to vinegar now. But it's fine. I just want something to support my diet, something to support eating. But I want to eat leaves. Leaves taste pretty good when they're fermented, but I could I could partially fermented. You think yeast could fight through the vinegar? I don't know. It'd be an interesting experiment. I want to keep it as natural as possible, though. I'm not trying to get drunk off of my ferments. Either way, it's like the ferment will relax you. If it doesn't get you drunk, it'll still relax you. Uh, no, that's the thing. I kind of like them dirty though. I just put some tape around all of them, so that does a double duty too for my ferments. I'm not only protecting them from, because I broke 2 jars so far. I'm not only protecting them from it doesn't take much to smack those jars to break them, but I'm protecting them, and I'm also keeping the light out. And that's like a double duty. I didn't really give much thought about keeping the light out situation, but I'm throwing leaves in my ferments, and I'm liking the results a little bit. But they're not easy to eat by themselves. I need a rich meal that I can consume them with, and that's where cooking comes into play. If I could like cook sausage, yeah, fermentation is all about that dirtiness. Because let's say I had like a little bit of a headache last night, and it's like there's regional illnesses, there's regional bacteria, there's regional plants. I mean, I was getting this crazy seed on my pant legs that I put a picture of in the discussion forum, and it's like that's a regional thing. I've never seen a seed like this, and it seems edible. I was be able to eat it. Well, there's regional plants, there's regional disease. And by traveling around with my ferment jars, those ferment jars are kind of picking up the local bacteria, the local disease, and killing it. Okay? So then I consume it, and I'm taking in a little inoculation with that, and that's very helpful for traveling. I mean, I don't keep the jars like open completely, but they're exposed. I mean, there's bacteria. I'm sucking in bacteria every breath I take. And I'm sure it's settling on the jars all the time, and it's kind of helpful to I think maybe be able to have these ferments soak in a little bit of the local bacteria, that I can consume it and develop an inoculation a little bit. I don't know. That's what a theory. Yeah, I think it's got to be good. I mean, there's different sicknesses and illnesses that you get in just the particular regions of this, of the country. You don't have to go have a. Maybe island hopping would be a more extreme form of you'd find more extreme forms developing on certain islands of sort of extreme forms of disease. But then again, it's like I've hopped quite a few islands, all right, and I've found the local the wildlife to be really like laid back. The island is their defense, so they don't have predators like they develop predators on a continental. Water makes you want old women. Um, yeah, like I've been able to approach animals a little bit close, like little crabs, little birds. I nearly stepped on birds on a one of them secret military islands I was on when I was in the military. It's so strange. The wildlife seems to let its guard down because of the lack of predators on certain islands. But there's a lot more predators eating each other on the continental on this large land mass, and it's an interesting issue. The bacteria is preying on each other, and so that the strongest survive, and then with that there's also bacteria that prey on people too, and you got to develop a defense against that in some way. Um, I don't want to make myself completely vulnerable. I mean, I'm not getting shots. I don't plan on getting a shot for the flu coming up. Is it a morning and it's a May Day? Uh, yeah, the fermentation is one of your best ways of getting a good inoculation for certain diseases. I mean, you're really with the fresh foods, and cooking of course kills it. That's kind of a way you might destroy the bacteria a little too much though. Um, Mayday is code word. Okay. Yeah, I'm kind of an anti-vaxxer, but to a point. I would say that there's a middle ground between the vaxxing and the anti-vaxxing. Going completely stone cold sober from vaccinations might be a little bit of a okay, there's a lot of code in there. Um, there's some vaccinations that seem kind of reasonable. They've gone a little too far, just like medications. Some medications are reasonable, but people push it to the extreme, just like with a lot of things. Yep, being sober is pretty nice. I don't mind it. I'm kind of drunk on just being lost. You get lost, and that's disorientation. That's as close to being drunk as I want to be. Like I'm not quite sure where I'm at. I got here from one direction. I don't know the rest of this area. It's kind of exciting. That's why I might be showing a higher spirit, because I don't know this area and I'm exploring. Mayday, I don't. Mayday. It's not May. It's the October's coming up, and nobody has their decorations for Halloween up in these local regions yet. Um, but there is definitely a lot being sold in stores now. A lot of new stuff I've never seen. What's my background? Oh, looks like a cop. John Leo. I bet your D is probably in place of an E, right? You know Leo if you know codes. Um, so yeah, I just making a report. That's the reason. Going back to why I started this video. That's the reason why I am not putting out daily videos now, because I got a lot, and I'll repeat myself. I got a lot of footage of inside the courthouse, and that court, the judge, he's the water judge, and I find this amusing too. They have a water judge. So you're a pig? Yeah, I'm a pig too. That's my problem. I eat too much. Um, I took a lot of footage of the inner courthouse, and the water judge put down his order saying no photography, no drones. You're not allowed to fly a drone or use a camera from a drone, or use your body worn camera, your GoPro. So, um, but it's like there's a water judge. So what is there like? It's amusing to me to think about. Is there if there's a water judge, is there an earth judge? Is there a fire judge? Is there an air judge? That'd be interesting to have that kind of it's maybe a fantasy to think about um, for the different roles that judges play. But apparently, there's the water rights is such an issue around Steamboat, and I mean this is Steamboat. They need a water judge because there's so many conflicts with water usage that they have a judge who's an expert on water. But this isn't this isn't the desert. This is in the mountains where water is really plentiful. There's no dry riverbeds. These rivers actually have water. These river channels are actually full of water year round, as opposed to in the desert. You see these channels and there's no water, which I'm actually going back pretty much to the deserts. You have no expectation of privacy. I know people look through my car window. That's why I keep my car windows down in the back windows where the screen is so I can hear anybody approach. But sometimes people sneak up on me pretty good. I can't hear them. And my hearing isn't the best anyway. The Air Force has kind of destroyed that. But yeah. So diets and stuff. Let me contact their local station to find. Okay. So getting back to, I said the original reason is because I got a lot of footage of the courthouse in the next couple of videos for the daily videos. I mean a lot. And this is before they gave the warning out, but I just want to hold off. I'll let the judge sign off on it for dropping my case, dismissing my case, and then I'll move forward, because I got quite a few videos. I've been taking quite a few. I got new drone footage. I got regular just footage, and just kind of throw it out there. It's all B-roll. This is a B-roll channel, okay? Yeah, the Air Force was just a job for me. I mean, you talk to John Kreger, read up on John Kreger, type in John Kreger Hayden, Kregar. He talks about how he was like holding his friend as his friend's legs were blown off and he was slowly bleeding to death. He used his belt and the buddy's belt to try to tie off the leakage, but he couldn't stop it enough. How much I killed a lot of paper targets. I was trained in a lot of weapons: the M60, the M16, the M9. You got some killings. Yeah, I haven't really killed anything. I haven't hunted. I've never really gotten into hunting because of all the regulations against it. It's just if I got to do all that paperwork just to hunt, yeah, I'm not gonna bother. Just look at how heavily regulated the hunting is. Yeah. So let's talk about killing people. Who is this guy? Who wants to talk about killing people? There's support groups for that. If you want to fulfill your fantasies, all right, go to 4chan.org. Okay, bring up the topic. There's plenty of people who want to talk about that. In fact, they'll have videos probably of their own exploits to share with you. Okay, I've seen some gruesome stuff that was put on. Okay, type in Tom Horn on your search. Tom Horn was a contract killer for the cattle ranchers in Wyoming, and that is a fascinating story. All right, that would be a fascinating court case wherever that's available to read, on how they argued to get this guy hung for killing that 15-year-old boy. You got some videos? All right. Yeah, there's a lot of gruesome videos on 4chan. It's like if you want to remind yourself of how horrible humanity can be, you go to 4chan, and every so often them type of nasty videos will crop up, and they'll remind you how bad humanity really can get in countries, probably in America too, in some places, to actually capture murders, to actually capture, I don't even want to talk about it. That's worse than the military. Watching these like faces of death videos, that's as bad as being in the military. And there's also military um, content on there too. Terrible stuff. But that's so rare. It's such a rare occurrence. But it's another website, yeah. Well, that's surprisingly a website that's survived a lot of political discourse. All right, 8chan might still be down. I haven't checked that in a while, but that one school shooter or whatever, he was using 8chan, so they tear 8chan down because the site owner wasn't a millionaire and he couldn't really defend himself. Um, Gawker.com kind of pushed boundaries until Hulk Hogan, uh, the Hulk Hogan trial, and now they stay up. I think Gawker.com stays up, but you see that last day that they published, and it stays. They just keep it up. Um, but they're down forever. Um, yeah, there's a lot of those controversial things, but I'm not really. I'm traveling. I'm not really seeing anything controversial. I'm looking for nice things that I can record with the drone. Um, now that I got a drone, um, I was thinking I'd like to get a nice new battery for it. That way that I can really extend out the usage. Um, there's plenty of stuff to capture, but it's a matter of how much battery life you can hold. A lot of my weight in my bag is battery. In fact, that's what I'm relying on here with this. I don't even know how much longer does this battery have. Okay, I got two little lights still, so working off of this battery. Yeah, there's plenty of nasty stuff out there. If you're feeling an appetite for it, I mean, go on to these websites and talk with the people about it. There's some people that seem to know the backgrounds, so you could share background, share your own video. YouTube is not the place for that. Maybe Live Leak, but even Live Leak is pushing the boundaries. Um, so I'm traveling around, and that's it. I'm not planning on going back to Steamboat. And I'll say that if they do try to force an order that I need to return back to Steamboat, I'm going to question it, and then I'd like to see that paperwork at least. Maybe there'll be something. I'll have to get some kind of paperwork. It'll be like a warrant for my arrest or whatever. It just seems so unlikely because this sounds like if this court is reasonable, it's not a winner take all situation. They're settling step by step on matters. First, they settled that the prosecution has figured out they cannot win this case. Okay, so that's over with. So that covers the majority of it. They can't win their charges of obstruction, of the harassment, of the disorderly. They can't win any of that, so they're dropping that. And then it's now turned into litigation over my usage of the evidence. It's like it's not like it's just video. Yeah, maybe something will come out today or sometime this week. I'll find out when they drop the case. Okay, 2 months long ordeal. But it's like they take it step by step, and that's reasonable. You can't just do a winner take all. You got to settle everything at once type of thing. You take it step by step. Okay, first they figure they got to drop the case. Yeah, October 2nd I got some kind of hearing. That's no longer like the trial. October 25th is no longer. So if they're going to drop the trial, they got to drop the hearing because that hearing was for the trial. We're into different territory here. All right, we're into the settlement phase with just dropping the charges, and now it's a matter of litigating, arguing, and discussing how to handle the evidence that I was given, the video, the police report, the witness reports. Okay, it comes down to how I'm supposed to handle that, and we wouldn't have gotten there. We wouldn't be litigating how I should handle this evidence if I didn't post online, okay, on my other channel, all this information. All right, that got the prosecutor's attention. Now she's arguing that it's making people want to uh, attack the witnesses, attack the complainant, my victim. So now we're litigating that, and my lawyer should be making some arguments against that. And I'm also kind of pushing the boundaries with having put out that video a couple of days ago, showing my perspective and the cop's perspective during that arrest. All right, because I've actually used some of the evidence, but it's like, what kind of? I mean, how can you control this type of evidence? All right, it's video. All right, whether it's gotten through the Rule 16 procedures or by public records, you know, it's in my hands. All right, it's on my computer, and it's not a bloody knife. It's not like I'm handed the bloody knife to inspect and now I got to hand it back to the prosecutor. No, I made a copy of that video. They still have the original, but they're trying to claim that I have the original too. I could make 1,000 copies. Then there'd be 1,000 originals out there. You gotta work with video a lot different than a bloody knife, a smoking gun, an oily rag. They're different. They're different forms of evidence. Okay, you can't. You know, it's silly. It's There's got to be like separate procedures for how they handle video. Everyone who gets this video, maybe if you're gonna, okay, what the courts need to do is they don't need to attack me, all right? They need to attack the system and how they share this type of evidence. Yeah, it's my property now, really. I got it, you know, whether I got it through Rule 16 or the whatever, the evidence, it's the required disclosure of the evidence that they're going to use against me, whatever, the discovery, you know, whether it's gotten through that phase or public records, I still got it, and they still got it. It's not like the digital information degraded in any way when we made the split. We got 2 equal copies, you know, and there could be more copies, there can be more copies, okay, but they can all be equally made. You don't have to like cut up the cake. You're not cutting up a cake and, you know, giving each portion out. You're making an exact copy of the cake out of practically thin air, and you can make that 1,000, 1,000,000 times. And they're trying to control that. You know what they need to do is make like a program like a Snapchat, okay? When they share the evidence, then after you watch it, it disappears like a Snapchat. Instead, how the courts are sharing this video evidence that they want to control, is they're just giving it out. They just gave it out to me. They just gave me a free copy, all right? Because that's what they're required to do, and that's what I got. And now to me it's turned into public record, all right? But if they think that they absolutely have to control this type of thing, don't attack the individuals who get it. You're attacking the drug abusers. Go after the drug dealers, which are you guys. Make a Snapchat program or something. All right, look at how Snapchat's successful. They can delete their footage as soon as somebody sees the video or picture, then instant afterward it's deleted. It's gone. So, I mean, yeah, and me, I do public investigation. I like to go to the public for information. Yeah, there's some people who make threatening remarks. So what? I mean, what am I don't have control over that. And I mean, I tend to delete those, and I tend to block those people anyway. I appreciate the people who go straight to the threatening remarks, because they're putting a target on themselves. Okay, they should. The courts might want to say they're putting a target, that these trolls are putting a target on me, but the trolls are putting a target on themselves and making it clear that they want their account blocked from my channel, and that's fine. You know, I appreciate that. I need those people to be very clear from the start, but courts want to use that against you instead. They're saying, oh, this is fodder to use against the person. For me, it's just a matter of when I see it, I can block it. That makes it very easy to do. But for the courts, apparently it makes it easy for them to create arguments against me as a person for having received those comments. I'm the receiver of the comments, and the courts are saying that I'm the instigator because my videos are causing those comments to happen. And it's a real confusion. These courts don't understand technology. There's so many things that they could change with the way they view technology and the way they can handle technology that they're not. Okay, I don't know what the holdup is. You don't want to fall too far behind because technology is still changing in interesting ways. Everything someone else says can be used against me. That's right, exactly. All right, I should probably stop. I got my bicycle over here, and I think probably the library will be opening up soon. I got my wrist warmers and my neck warmer on there. It got warm enough. It was chilly enough in the morning though, so I'm gonna stop this. And this was interesting. Just kind of coming out here and being able to do this on the library Wi-Fi. So all right, I'm gonna stop.